Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Psycho, and I am back with another Walking Dead video. This one is going to be a review of episode 12 of season 6, titled Not Tomorrow Yet. Now, before I even start off with this review, I just want to say this is not only one of my favorite episodes of this season, but of all time. This is just, I can't even put this into words of how fantastic this episode was created. From start to finish, every single moment of this episode was worth putting in their 43-minute time limit. Not only did we have some of the biggest action scenes within the show, we also had a wide, diverse variety of character development. I don't think there has been another episode where we have had this much various character development with every single character almost. We got character development with Carol, Tobin, Maggie, Glenn, Heath, Father Gabriel. Just shout out to Father Gabriel. He stepped up way more than anyone ever expected, and I told you guys, I had faith in Father Gabriel, and I am so happy he followed through with it tonight. I want to start off by talking about the smaller things that began with this episode. First, we got a really delightful song, and I actually thought a commercial was playing until I looked up and saw that it was actually the show. And it was with Carol, and she's handing everyone cookies, and she's making this stuff, and then it shows her going out and killing a walker. So it shows that sort of separation with Carol, how she has two sides. She presents herself as this one person that cares about everyone, and she does care about everyone, making cookies and stuff, and then she also has this other badass side where she kills walkers and people and does what needs to be done. And then we finally got a huge moment with Carol and Tobin, and I know a lot of Daryl and Carol shippers are going to be angry about this, but if you sit and think about it, it does make sense because they are sort of around the same age, and Daryl is a lot younger than Carol in my opinion. It always seemed to me as if Carol was more of a mother-type figure over Daryl, just like Tobin mentioned, and then she asked Tobin what he thought about Carol, and if she was a mother-type to him, and he admitted to saying no, and then it showed the kiss. And I was really happy about that because we finally got some closure, and we got some discussion between the two, and he was talking about how she is a mother and she does what needs to be done, and it scares him, but he knows that she does what needs to be done, and that it is the right thing to do if she's trying to take care of all of her people. Specifically, one of the things that I think Tobin was pointing out was the fact that Carol was the mother to Daryl. We've seen a lot of mother-type actions going on, such as kissing him on the forehead, and that was one of the first signs to where we thought, well, you know, she didn't kiss him on the lips, so that could be telling us something, and I think that was what it was pointing to when Tobin was talking about that. We also got the situation with Abraham and Rosita. He basically tells her, you know, I don't need you anymore, I thought you were the only woman in the world. And then he gets a funny Dingleberry line where he's like, yeah, all shit's brown or something like that. And then finally we get on to Rick in the church with a really cool speech I want to mention. And one thing he says is, we've got to come for them before they come for us. And that is exactly what he said in the very first episode of this season when he was talking about the Walker herd. And I just thought that was a really cool parallel where it takes it back to the very first episode. And if you happen to notice it, you get the idea and you get what they're referencing. Moving on, we got to the part where Rick asks if anyone wants to reject the idea, and of course everyone turns around back to Morgan, and he stands up and says, we should talk to these guys. Which, not to mention, that was absolutely stupid. I mean, I know these people don't know who Negan's group is, but if they bash in someone's head right as they meet them, I don't think you're gonna be talking. You're gonna have your teeth laying on the ground and your eyeballs about 10 feet away. There's another really cool reference that I do want to point out as well, and that is where Rick says, we have to kill them all. And it shows a shot of Tara looking down as if she's cringing or thinking back on an idea or something that happened that really hit her in the heart. And that was because that's what the governor said when they attacked Rick's group. He says, kill them all. And that throws it back to where Tara was on the governor's side and she was actually on the wrong side, and she realizes it. And hopefully she's realizing that she's on the right side this time. There's one more thing that I forgot about is we got some interaction with Morgan and Carol at the beginning where he's saying, why didn't you tell anyone? You didn't have to keep it a secret. And he's basically questioning her ideas as if she's changing and she's trying to see the other side of Morgan and trying to see that side. And it definitely makes sense considering what Carol has done throughout the episode. Of course, we had the moment where she told Rick and she was like, really, are you really going to let a pregnant woman come out here? And Rick was like, it's her choice. And she's starting to question those ideas because I think Morgan is rubbing off on her a little bit. We got the part where she was writing in her notes and she was writing these names down. I couldn't make it out because I don't have the HD channel, I just have the normal channel, and I couldn't read it, but I know she wrote the number 18 down. And I would say that could most likely be the amount of humans she has killed because she did kill a lot of wolves. And then we had Lizzie and multiple other people like Tyrese's girlfriend, and we had more people like that, and most likely that will add up to 18, and I could absolutely be wrong on this. That's just speculation because I couldn't read it all. We also got the part where it shows Rick and one of the guys from Hilltop making plans, and it was really cool to see this because it really goes in depth. He was like, did the guy go left or right when he was taking your weapons? Because they're trying to figure out which way is the armory, because they've never been in this place before, and they're just using their brains and the small little details that could count for something big. It's one of those moments that you see in a really great movie where you hear a very climactic cinematic score going on in the background, and they definitely did perfect on the soundtrack this episode. I absolutely loved it, and they always add the right soundtracks for the tension, and the song at the very end of the episode was great as well. Now moving on to the next part of the episode, where Rick says he's going to kill Gregory, and this was sort of misleading, but I liked the way they did it, because it misled the audiences on purpose just to surprise them with an intelligent way to come out of this without killing Gregory. It was a really good idea that I didn't even expect to happen. It just shows how they can add in things to the show that are completely new. Even though we've gone through a ton of material, they keep on adding these things that you don't think about. I also love the part where Jesus states that Gregory's nose looks a little different and it has a different shape, so Rick just punches the nose. And the guy from Hilltop stated as Rick punched the head, he was like, I don't know about you guys, but this guy scares me more than Negan, and that sort of leads me to believe that he hasn't seen Negan yet, because Negan has done a lot more terrible things than what Rick has done with these zombie heads. Finally, where we get to the satellite facility, this is where it gets absolutely genius in writing. I love the part where they go up and it's just a lone van with that one guy from Hilltop and he brings the head out, and both of the saviors were really, really cool. They had this sort of smart aleck funny vibe to them, but you could also suspect that these were dangerous people. I absolutely love the part where the guy goes back into the facility to retrieve one of the Hilltop members, and then Daryl just comes up and slits the guy's throat from behind him, and then I knew that shit was getting real. As soon as we saw Rick's group hoarding up to the entrance, I knew this was going to be badass. I really love the idea that they dragged the body off and then hid once again to do the same idea over. And I absolutely love that strategy because instead of just ambushing him as he opened the door, they made it to where he wouldn't expect anything at all and then stabbed him in the back. Not only was that specific kill intelligent, the whole raid was perfect. They had people watching in the back like Father Gabriel, Tara, and Jesus just in case something went wrong. They went in formation as they went inside the building, and they took a new approach they normally don't take. Usually it's them going in guns blazing, or they're just being attacked themselves, yet this time they took a perfect stealthy formation. It is definitely a new take on the show that we haven't seen before. It was so amazing to see them go in and do all of these stealth kills where they've got the knife about 2 inches above their head and they just pop it down on and crush their brain. And that was just such an intense moment because every single second of those scenes you were afraid someone was going to wake up and yell, you were afraid someone was going to come in behind them because they woke up and heard someone. And especially the moment with Glenn and Heath. I'll get to that in just a second. They did a perfect job at creating the environment around you. Even in your mind, they had you thinking different things and going through different emotions as they were raiding this place and trying to be as silent as they could. The writing was also great because it was the idea of the unknown. They didn't know how many people were in this building. They didn't know every single hallway and the layout of the place, so it's sort of like ambushing a place you have never been in before. You know definitely that in the back of the group's minds, they could have been thinking about the Terminus situations and how this could be a trap similar to that. It was just so great to see them all silently taking them out, and then we got the moment where Abraham and Sasha, they've got each other's backs, and the guy goes up and slices Abraham, and then Sasha gets his back and stabs the guy, but then he turns around and pulls the fire alarm. And this just got absolutely insane. As soon as that happened, the episode got even more intense. It really did remind me of the first episode once again. Just like how Rick said the same quote over, it ended the same way yet a little different. In both episodes, there was an alert that was triggered or hit to signal the other enemies to come towards them. And I thought that was a really cool idea because it was like a reference or parallel that they wanted viewers to recognize. It had me going through the same emotions as I did when the siren went off from the truck horn. Except I was even more worried this time because they were in a place where they don't know how many people are there. They could all come out and overwhelm them. It was really cool to see Rick step into his survivalist mode once again. Ruthless Rick, just the badass Rick that we know. And he took out the 3 saviors. And Rick has a thing for triple kills. He gets a triple kill on the wolves, and then he gets a triple kill in this episode on the saviors. I want to tread back just a little bit before they hit the siren, and I want to talk about the situation with Heath and Glenn. To me, that was such a fulfilling moment, and it had such a great impact, because we saw Glenn, and I was really doubting that he was going to actually do it, because I'm thinking, if he does die in the finale, wouldn't they want him to not kill any human? But I actually wanted Glenn to do this. I wanted him to get the experience of killing a human. I don't know why, but if he is going to die, I really did want him to kill a human before that happened. After Glenn kills the Savior and then goes and kills Heath's Savior, he tries to save Heath from the experience because he knows it's going to change him, and then they both look up at the pictures, and then you realize that's why Glenn did not feel bad for this second guy. He saw that picture, and then there's some more foreshadowing that we saw. Glenn looks up at the bashed heads, and to me that had such a great impact because it didn't take showing a big video of someone getting killed to have that impact. It just simply foreshadowed something in an image, and I really loved it. I also love the part where they both get trapped in the room and they both unload their machine guns through the doors, and I was worried that they could have accidentally killed one of their people, but when I saw them open the door, you thought exactly what they were thinking. They realized they just killed a ton of people. Moving on, Father Gabriel and Tara did come in with some awesome clutches. Props to both of them, and especially props to Father Gabriel. That was just such a badass line. He was just saying all of these biblical things, yet he kills someone, and it was just so badass. It shows that you don't have to do something insane to become a badass. Just to sum the rest up, we get the final discussions with Tara and Heath, where Heath talks to Glenn, and then Tara says bye to Glenn. They do have some chemistry, because we have to think back to where he rescued Tara, and she rescued him as well in different ways, and they traded back and forth and helped each other grow as a character. This really makes me nervous about Tara because she is saying all of these goodbyes and she's getting a lot of closure and development as a character, and we do know what occurs to these characters sometimes when that happens. Finally, we get that one hook that every single episode has that I absolutely love and gets everyone else excited about the next episode, and that is where the guy comes out, and I actually thought he was going to escape and be able to tell Negan in the group, but they shoot him to my surprise, and then he drops down, and the guy looks very familiar. It's as if I've seen the guy before. Even the blood on his face looks like that was an image I had seen before. But if you do know where he's from, and if he's an actor from a familiar show, make sure to let me know. I had Breaking Bad in my mind, but I'm not really sure about that. We finally get the scene on the walkie-talkie, and that's where the surprise happens. We don't know who this woman is, but we do know that they have Maggie and Carol. And this is where you see the look on Rick's face, and you know that look. Everyone that watches The Walking Dead knows that look, and they know it's about to get insane. So I'm definitely excited about what could happen in the future, and this was just one of the best episodes that I've ever seen. It definitely competes with No Way Out. They're going back and forth for me because I really did love this episode. I know some of you guys might not think it's better than No Way Out, but to me, they are competing. They're even right now because I love this. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you did, please be sure to hit me with a like because I do put a lot of work into this, and it helps me out a ton. And also make sure to subscribe if you're new here because I am on the road to 10K, and if you want to be on that road with me and help me reach that goal, that would be awesome. As always, thanks again guys. Peace out.